my name is Erica, and this is my February wrap-up. I'm choosing to wrap up today because I feel like the book that I'm on, I'm making progress in it, but I'm just probably not going to finish it and start another one before the end of February. So, the first couple that I read this month, I don't have anymore because I handed them off to a friend of mine that's reading the same series. So, and actually, I'm looking down because I'm looking at my actual physical list. Every year I set a reading goal at the beginning of the year, and this year I actually set one on Goodreads and stuff, which is super fun, by the way. I like it, Goodreads, when you hit like your reading challenge, they're like, hey, you're ahead, you're doing awesome, whoop whoop. I like the celebratory part of Goodreads. I actually really enjoy Goodreads. I like the groups of things. I'm really enjoying all the reading challenges and stuff. They're getting me to read even more than I was, and I've always been a pretty big reader. And this year I set a goal for 25 books in a year. Years ago I was trying to do 52 books in a year, and I couldn't even get anywhere near it. So I decided I'd split it in half, and I tried to do like 25 or so. I started off this month because I ended that last month. I had read, I think like 6 books. I read 6 books last month. And at the end of it, I was like smack in the middle of the end of a series. So I started, let me just explain a little backstory of this. I started the Sookie Stackhouse series, which they're by Charlaine Harris. They're actually the books that were the inspiration for True Blood. Because a friend of mine, and this was years ago, I'm not even sure how long ago I started reading these books. But a friend of mine was just up in arms, aggravated that I was reading the Twilight series. I'd seen the movies, I think at this point, like on the 3rd movie, I think. That sounds right in my head. And my friend just flips out and tells me she hates those books. I should not be reading them. If I want to read a vampire story, I want to watch vampires, I should watch True Blood. And she pulls out her Blu-ray, and I don't have a Blu-ray player. So I'm like, I don't have a Blu-ray player, I can't watch these. So she was like, fine. So she literally, and like, I'm not literally, she picks up the book and throws it at my head. It's the first book, which is, oh my god, I should look it up. I think it's Dead in Dallas? I don't remember what the first book was. I'm sorry, Charlaine Harris. I'm sorry, Sookie Stackhouse fans. I don't remember. But it was the first book in the series. She threw it at me. A year later, no joke, a year to read this book. A year later, I read that book, and I loved it. And I went out and I got the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th book. And I started mooting them and putting them on my list. And I read the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th one. And then I think I read the 5th one. And then I kept reading them kind of on and off. Like, I really liked the book, but I didn't want like the series to end, I guess. But anyway, Charlaine Harris wrote 13 books for this series, so it's not a little series. So when I decided this year I'm gonna finish out the series, that was the one I started with. And I actually started it in January. I participated in my first readathon since I was like 9. Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon. It was that one. Round 4, I think. I think it was round 4. Sounds right. I could be wrong. I think it was 4. And in that, I actually ended up reading like 3 or 4 of the books that I had set up. End of January and the beginning of February, I just started Deadlocked, which was, let's see, so that was like book 12 in the series. Because I got through Dead Reckoning and like instantly had to read the next book. I loved Dead Reckoning. By the way, Dead Reckoning, Charlaine Harris, excellent book. That's probably my favorite one in the series, hands down. That one, like, just loved it. So then I read Deadlocked, and then I read Dead Ever After, which are the last 2 in the series. The series, if you don't know anything about True Blood or about Sookie Stackhouse series, it's about a girl who's in this small town, Louisiana, and she falls in love with a vampire. They have vampires actually like live amongst everybody else, and they also have other people that they call them supes, that are supernatural beings that live within but aren't really public. As you get later in the series, there's more different creatures that are, I guess, beings, I don't know what you call them, that are introduced and stuff, and they always have like I like the way that she describes them and has them, and it's a fun series to read. It really is, and they're easy reads. They're like 350 pages, and they're books that are really I feel like they're kind of addicting. You start to read it and you can't stop reading it. You want to keep reading it, keep reading it, keep reading it. So I read those two books in the beginning of the month, Deadlocked and Dead Ever After, and then I got After Dead too. After Dead, I was so happy. So Charlaine Harris wrote a book that was all little baby synopsises for every single character in the series. So anybody that like you happen to like, you got to read what happened to them. I love it. I love it. You got to know what happened to them, because personally, when you end the series, sometimes you're like, I really wish I knew what happened to that person that was in that book over here. Or the same thing with TV and stuff. Anytime like a series ends, like there's always that. But what about whoever your favorite was, you know? And that was really cool. And it was all like little paragraphs and stuff. I think there were only like 2 or 3 that had more than 1 page worth. For also in February, and I have this somewhere because I borrowed it from a friend. I went, and actually it was at the end of January. I went to a friend's house for her son's birthday, and I supplied birthday cake. I ended up with a bunch of books. I went to drop off a cake that I had baked. She asked me to bake for her son's birthday. And we were sitting there, and all of a sudden we got into this book discussion because we're both big readers. And she was just like, oh, you have to read this book and this book. And she handed me, I want to say like 12 books. I have a whole bag, like that's what I just glanced over to, like on my floor, this bag full of books. And her son, who's 12, actually asked me, he just stopped. He's like, have you ever read John Green? And I said, I actually just bought a John Green book, but I haven't read it yet. I've been watching him on YouTube for years. I like the movies based on his book. But I hadn't, aside from maybe a blurb or 2, I had not read any of his books. So he handed me this. This is Looking for Alaska, by John Green. And he said I had to read it. So I set to reading it, and I think John Green is a beautiful writer. Even just beautiful. His descriptions, the way that he writes is beautiful and heartbreaking. Hello, really? Is this what I have to look forward to though? Like people that have read John Green books, like this is I've seen 1 movie and I've read 1 book right now, and both of them were sad. Both of them made me cry. Is this what I have to look forward to? I'm gonna read them because I love the way he writes and it's amazing. But yeah, Looking for Alaska is about a kid that goes to a prep school, essentially. Goes to a private school. And he meets this whole cast of characters, and in them is a girl named Alaska, and it's about his infatuation with her and falling in love with her, that kind of thing. It's a really awesome book. I'm sure you've already read it because I've seen a million people say this is one of their favorite books, but yes, a really good recommendation from my friend's son. So I read that one, and then I read, and then I did the Book in Time readathon. I told you, I like the reading challenges, and the readathons get me through lots of books, and I like it. It's fun. So, I did the Book in Time readathon, and the Read Your Bookshop-a-thon, I read like 4 books in a week. Was went into this readathon thinking, oh, I can read 4 books. I did that last time. So I had picked out, I think, 6 different books that fit the, there were different challenges given during it to read something with mental illness, read a book that took place in your home country, I think like a debut novel. It was there were 4 or 5 different challenges that I can't remember all of them now. One that had been in your TBR the longest, I can't remember what else. So I had picked out 5 or 6 books, which actually there's still a stack of them because I did not read 5 or 6 books during this readathon at all. I read 2. Yep. 2. So, the theme for Book in Time is to read contemporary books. So I told you, I don't really genres, and I don't know what they are. Contemporary was like, I'm pretty sure that's like romancy, stuffy stuff. I'm not really sure what it is. So I went through and I had actually looked at a list of contemporary novels and picked out some that I knew I had on my shelves. and then some that like I knew I'd had forever. So this is how I started Book in Time. So I got Princess Diaries here by Meg Cabot. And Meg Cabot, I read the Queen of Babel. Queen of Babel was it's really funny. It's one of those books that like 5 minutes in I'm going, I don't even want to read this. What is this? And then I got like 10 more pages and laughed out loud for the rest of the book. It is the funniest thing. The main character is hilarious, and I can't remember her name right now, which is shameful. I actually just ordered the next 2 in that series because I'm trying to read the rest of my series, and I still haven't read that one. So I just ordered the next 2, which I think is all there is on that series. But anyway, so on my shelf is Princess Diaries. This is the first book in the gigantic Princess Diaries one. Princess Diaries is one of those things that I love the movie so much I went and bought the book. I do that a lot. If I see a movie and I really like, I do the same thing with soundtracks. If I see the movie and I really like the music, I'll buy a soundtrack and I'll go buy the book if it's based on the book to see, or I'll mooch the book or what have you. But I'll obtain the book if I really like it and I think I want to read that. So this I've had for, say easy, like 6 years because I wanted to read it. I don't know if it's just my mood that day or what. I read 60 pages of this and then threw it in a pile and said, this is not a book mooch. I'm not reading it. I can't read this book. So that's how I started Book in Time. I spent my first day trying to read this book and couldn't get into it. So though I love the movie and I love Meg Cabot, Princess Diaries is just not for me. So I moved on to, sorry, I'm covered in. Swapping Lives by Jane Green. Well, very relatable writer. She's a very engaging writer. Like I feel like her books are always really easy to read in that you start to read it and you get really attached to the characters and you want to know what's happening and you really want to go through it. And she always has like a cool girl in them and I love it. So this book is actually it's about 2 women. One that lives in the UK, one that lives in New York. One is single. The one that lives in the UK is single. The one that lives in New York is actually married with kids. And there's a whole like magazine story that gets written about swapping lives because the single one is constantly saying that she would swap lives with her sister-in-law anytime because she just wants to have kids and have a family and that kind of thing. And she's like in her 30s and that's one of those things. I'm in my 30s. I understand. So she ends up writing, she writes for a magazine, and she ends up doing a story where she swaps lives with this woman who's in New York that is married, and actually she's not in New York now, I just said that, I think she's in Connecticut. Yeah, she's in Connecticut. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. The one in the US is in Connecticut. It's about the grass is greener thing that, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. And it was really entertaining and I liked it. The only thing, I'll say this just in case you're like me, the only thing I didn't like about this book is, I really like Jane Green's writing style usually. The way this was split up though was like, you'd be reading a chapter and you'd be reading about Vicky, who's the character that's from London. And you'd be really into it and you'd be, oh, I want to know more about Vicky and I love this character. And then it would swap. And it would go to Amber, who's the one that lives in Connecticut, and it would switch to her, and then you'd have to basically re-engage with the character again. And I felt like it did that the whole book. So not only was I just like torn out of being really engaged with it, but I read this, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good book. I think I gave it 4 stars, based on just that I didn't like the swappy part of the writing. I mean, I get it's called Swapping Lives, but you didn't have to swap narratives constantly either. So that was that book. I read that one. It was a good book. I liked it. So then I moved on to, again, another one in a series. Shopaholic and Baby. So this is Sophie Kinsella. This is another writer who does what they deemed chiclet forever ago. But she is one of those writers that I love. I laugh every single time I read a Shopaholic book. I read Confessions of a Shopaholic maybe 10 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I actually really related to Becky more than that, because I myself, I shop a lot. I love to shop. I shop when I shouldn't because I don't have the money. I am one of those people. So reading that book was like Yeah, and that's another one that I hated the movie. I really wanted to love that movie, and I hated the movie. And I love the whole cast in that movie, but I hated the movie. But the book, I love the book. So I've read all the way up to this. So I'd read 4 of them, and then I don't know what happened. This book I bought when it came out because I love the Shopaholic series so much. It came out in like 2007. Let me check. Let me do a little check. 2007. Yeah, this came out in 2007. It's 2015. It's been on my shelf since 2007. So I decided I was going to read this during the Book and Time readathon, and I did, and I loved it. I thought it was adorable. It was so cute. And it was everything you like about Becky Bloomwood if you've ever read her books. If you've never read the Shopaholic series, the basic gist of it is Becky Bloomwood is a total, I'm like addicted shopaholic. She convinces herself that she needs things that nobody needs, and she just constantly shops. She's in debt. I mean, she's in debt more than take like 6 college loans and 35 credit cards, and that's like her debt. She's a lot of debt, but she continuously keeps buying things. And she meets this guy who's great, but he's like super financially stable, and it's just totally different. And they're kind of like, it's like they're from opposite sides of the track, I guess is the way to put it. But it's based in that, like the romance is that part, and then it's based in her being this crazy flighty little shopaholic. And the whole series is just one right after another, pretty funny. The first one is about just her in general and introducing to the character and her life and her meeting Luke. And then the second one is about going off to New York because she's from London. And then the third one is about, I remember, her wedding. And the fourth one is about her sister, if I remember right. And then this fifth one is about her and her pregnancy. This book was, like I said, adorable, and it was so cute, and it was great. And I just ordered the next 2 in the series because I knew there was one after this. I knew there was one when she has a kid, where the kid's actually like on the cover. So I knew that. I did not realize that she wrote another one that just came out this past year. So I ordered that one too. So I'll be reading Shopaholic again soon. So I read those 2. And then, I read this one. So for Christmas, I bought this for my mom. My mom and I both, my sister actually, all of us, really liked Oprah Winfrey, like just watching Oprah. I think Oprah's, well, how do I describe it? She's an inspirational person, I guess. I'm always kind of entertained. I still like get her newsletters for like our book club and stuff. I actually enjoy OWN, the actual her television channel and stuff. I like her. I've always liked Oprah. So she put out a book this past year. Let's see. There we go. It's called What I Know for Sure. In the little, it was cute. Little oak tree. She talks about in here how her like favorite place to sit and read is her oak tree, and that's like her sanctuary, basically, is her oak tree. So it's kind of cool to put on there. But I bought this for my mom for Christmas, and she read it and liked it, and then handed it off to me. She knew I would read it, and I just have to say, this is one of those books. You know how sometimes you buy a book and you're kind of underwhelmed, I guess. This book I thought was so fun. So it's a hardcover, and it's one of those. Oh my god, I wish you could see it. My camera doesn't show it very well. It's one of those. Can you hear it? It's one of those that's the cloth bound kind of thing. It didn't. There was no what do we call it? Dust jacket. There was no dust jacket. It was just like this. And it has the little oak tree and the thing, and then these are actually ribbons, really pretty, which match up with the ribbon that's here, which is actually like an attached bookmark, which I love. And then on the back, actually, there's a quote from Oprah. It says, "I know for sure your journey begins with a choice to get up, step out, and live fully." Personally, I'm a big fan of things like that. I really enjoy the books and memoirs and stuff have a really positive message, rather than just here's all the crap I went through and hope you learned something. Like I like when it's actually pointed out, like, hey, this silver lining in whatever happened. And I feel like Oprah does that. And this book was fan-freaking-tastic. It was so good. The things are set up, and actually, I can show you. They're all separated into little teeny things. Basically, what it is she was little. She is part of Oprah magazine. Oh, she does What I Know for Sure like every month. So she went through the ones that she had done before and picked out some of those and then did some new ones too. But she basically used those as inspiration to write this whole book. And it's all just her lessons in life, I guess, and her sharing them with you. And it's really good. It's written the way I feel like if you had a conversation with Oprah, it would be. It's a really good read. If you're looking for something positive and uplifting, I would say it's a book to go grab. And it's such a pretty book too that it's a nice one. Like my mom's not. She was like, I can't get rid of it. It's so pretty. So there's that. And now, the book that I'm reading right now that I don't see finishing in time to start another one for the month is over is another one I've had on my shelf forever. Eat, Pray, Love. By Elizabeth Gilbert, which, if you've never heard of it, it's about Elizabeth Gilbert, the author's journey to Italy, India, and Indonesia? Yes, in Indonesia. But she goes after she has a divorce, and she's basically depressed, and she's just unhappy in general, and she chooses to pack up everything and go take a year traveling and see what she learns about herself, and it's about that. And I have to say already, I am on page, I'm on page 59, so I'm not too far into the book. I love it already. I love it. I love the way she writes. I love the story. I think it's really just fun and interesting, and it's totally relatable to me right now. Like, it's just, I wish I could pack up everything and just run away and travel for a year, but I don't think I can swing that financially. So, so yeah, it's an awesome read. I actually just added the movie to my Netflix, so I haven't seen the movie either. So after I finish the book, I'm gonna watch the movie, so I can compare all that because I love doing that. I do. But by the way, speaking of movies, did I hear that this one's Looking for Alaska? Is this being made into a movie? Is that what I heard? Because I'm interested to see that. I want to. I would like to. I'm wondering if they'll cast it the way I saw it in my head, because that always bothers me. I actually could not get into True Blood even though I read all of those Sookie books, because the cast was not the cast I saw in my head. I couldn't. So I read a little this month. I didn't read as much as I did last month at all. I read a lot more last month. But I feel like I got kind of stuck in the books I was reading. Meaning, like, instead of flying right through them because I had another one to read that was the same thing, I was kind of trying to switch it up a little bit. So I don't know. But yeah. So that was February. February was pretty good. So we're moving on to March. I'm really excited. I'm going to be reading some older books that I've had for a while as part of the year-a-thon, readathon, and then after that I'm going to try to work on this gigantic pile next to my bed of books that I bought in the past, oh my god, I think like 3 months that I really want to read. So I'm really excited to do that, and yeah. So happy reading, and if you have any suggestions based on what I just said I liked, tell me. I'd love to hear it, and yeah, I will see you next time.